ng giving the land is yung housing, etc. Pero kung perpetual land trust, is there, ang kapalit lang to conserve or may rent or may share or anong provisions?
The agreement was something to the effect of the operation of a geotourism program.
Sige. But can we all, I asked my staff to do the same thing and let's comb through that contract kasi
Yes.
'di ba, that's basic sa contract law, 'di ba, na anong consideration, anong object ng contract and everything. So, sir, ma'am, sino pong gustong mag-brief naman and then mamaya I have questions about the COA report, but if you have comments there, please feel free to say it.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Unang-una, maraming salamat po sa imbitasyon at nagkaroon po tayo ng isang pagkakataon na marinig po yung panig ng Blue Star at ng Foundation. So, maraming salamat po dito. At gusto ko lang po unang mag-respond sa mga sinabi ng ating Secretary. Unang-una, we believe our work is consistent with the E-NIPAS law and the spirit and the objectives of the E-NIPAS law. In the terms of the E-NIPAS law, it says that the law must be interpreted liberally in favor of conservation. Kaya naman po inilathala ang mga batas na ito ay para maprotektahan ang mga nanganganib nating mga gubat. At ito mismo ang ginagawa ng Masungi at ng Blue Star. We uphold and protect and promote the E-NIPAS law, not only in Masungi, but across all protected areas in the Philippines, where we have become a big voice in terms of environmental protection. We believe that SAPA is not the only mechanism for the private sector or NGOs to participate in the endeavor of restoration and environmental protection.
Ma'am, just clarification. When you say we, that's Blue Star Construction or is it the foundation?
For this opening statement, I'm speaking for both, Mr.
For both,
Chair.
okay.
Yes.
No, what I meant is when you say na nationally, we become a voice for that. So both Blue Star Construction and Masungi Georeserve Foundation are into protecting.
Yes, very much
Yeah, just for the record lang,
connected.
para lang. So you're speaking for both in this statement.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair.
Sorry
Thank
to
you.
interrupt. Yeah.
Now, the DNR has unilaterally canceled a 2002 supplemental joint venture agreement that paved the way for this model. We did not receive any notices about these violations. We did not learn about this cancellation from formal processes. We just heard about it in the media, from the friends in the media. And we were not given a chance to dialogue with the DNR secretary or high officials, despite multiple requests to do so. I would like to quickly answer the factual, factually incorrect grounds and baseless grounds for the cancellation. Very quickly lang po.
But as of now, no, you have all the time, but as of now, you've received the notice of cancellation, hindi pa?
We received it 1 week after the
Okay.
press conference,
And that
Mr. Chair. That was March 17.
Okay, and that was the first time you formally...
We formally received, and we have responded on March 20. In that response, we have given our rebuttals to the different grounds given by DNR. First, that there was no implementation of housing units. This is not accountable to Blue Star because according to the SJVA, the construction of these units will only come after the DNR has delivered the land free of liens, encumbrances, claims, and occupants, which until today the DNR fails and has failed to do. So, Blue Star is not accountable.
Pwede nyo ibalik lang yung mapa. So, ma'am, okay lang. Para
Sige
lang
po.
we don't go back and forth and don't have to. Yung mapa kanina nang tinanong ko si ASEC. So, dun sa tatlong area, ano yung hindi pa na-deliver or is it many parts of those areas?
I think the subject po right now is the red one. This is called Lot 10, yung mukha pong
Yes.
aso.
But as for your contention na hindi pa due and demandable yung housing projects because hindi pa na-deliver. So you're talking about the 300 hectares or are we talking about pati yung 130 and 270?
We are talking about the 300 hectares,
300
Mr.
hectares.
Chair.
Sa 130 and sa 27, that's fully under your control or meron din mga
Our position is that it is already consummated,
Yes.
that agreement.
But what I meant is there still other people, other groups that hindi na naalis.
Konti na lang po.
So meron din,
Meron din,
outside the
konti.
300.
Yes, outside the 300. The second,
Let me just clarify, sir. The truth is, all of these lands were already lost by government when we first switched the place. The 130 hectares, the 300 hectares, and the 2,700 hectares. Nawala na po ito ng gobyerno. Napabayaan. Pinagparti-partihan na. Hindi ho nang mahihirap, kundi ng mga may pera, may nasa posisyon, may baril. Under all these three contracts, DENR has obligated itself to clear the land of illegal occupants and of claims, liens, and encumbrances. In all three contracts, DENR miserably failed to do so.
Well, first, let me say, sir, I understand powerful people claiming land. I mean, siguro sa generation ngayon, hindi na naintindihan talaga yung land grabbing at saka yung mga sindikato. But I had an uncle na katutubo, nakakuha sa Antipolo. Sabi nga niya sa akin, I was a first-term congressman, sabi niya, nireserve niya ako ng 1 hektarya. And then every year, he'll tell me, 9,000 square na lang. And then when he passed away, tinanong ng mga anak, kinuha mo ba? Sabi ko, hindi naman akin yon. So whether it's small groups or powerful groups, I understand what yung context na may mga huge tracts of land. Before it was even in Metro Manila, ngayon it's outside. But yung status ngayon, sir, so meron pang occupants yung iba.
Marami ho actually nakakon pa.
Sige. Pero
Kompromiso pa. Kasama ho ang isang swimming pool resort
Okay.
na pag-aari ng Penro ng Rizal ng DENR. Hanggang ngayon ho, hindi tinatanggal ng DENR. Andun, nakakahiya ho.
Sige, let's have joint submissions, ma'am. Kasi I think interest naman ng DNR either way is to have a clear understanding ng map, ano yung occupied at hindi. Let's have a joint submission. And mas madali nga ngayon because of the Google Earth and drones, di ba? Dati, pag medyo may security guard or may baril doon, mahirap kunan ng picture. But ngayon, because of Google Earth and magagawa na. Sige, sir. Continue.
okay, I will continue.
Yeah.
The second grounds for
So,
cancellation.
ma'am, sorry. So your legal position is until ma-deliver 100%, you will not start the 5,000.
That is what was written in the SJVA.
May I add, sir, one reason for that, actually it was DENR who placed that provision in the contract. One reason for the delivery free and clear of the land before start of the construction work is because we want to avoid the conflicts that occurred in the first 130 hectares. Katakot-takot na problema inabot namin. Sana naman dito sa kasunod na kontrata, mag-start na ng peacefully. Meron ng katahimikan na ma-implement ng developer, ng Blue Star, yung trabaho na hindi yung pinipigilan, dinidemanda, binabaril. Yun ang dahilan kung bakit kailangan mo talaga libre muna yung lupa.
And the housing, so I see 4.0, project implementation shall commence within 15 days from the delivery of the land, free and clear of claims, liens, encumbrances, and occupants, and issuance of development permit, and shall be completed within 5 years thereof. So the housing was supposed to be for who? So pag nagawa yung housing, ito turn over nyo sa DENR or may beneficiaries na?
Hindi lang ho kami contractor, kami rin ang developer. Kaya ibebenta ho, subdivide, bebenta. In the meantime na andun pa yung mga inventory ng lupa, we will maintain, we will operate the village, we will secure the village. So yung contract period, hindi lang 5 years. Yung sinasabi yung 5 years is only the construction phase.
Yes. So, pero pag na-construct yung 5,000, it's a commercial venture for Blue Star, or is it for mass housing?
Mass housing ho, mass housing.
Sino magiging beneficiary?
Yung government employees, sir.
Government employees.
Yes,
Tapos
Your
labas na
Honor.
kayo doon. Kung sino beneficiary.
Government, meron nung procedure na yung agency mismo nagse-certify na itong applicant or buyer is...
Then will you be paid for the houses, or...
Yes, we will be paid. Kasi yung construction, yung gastos sa development, galing lahat sa Blue Star. Wala akong equity ang gobyerno. Not a single cent.
And at that time, sir, 97-2002, was there a master plan for the conservation?
Meron akong sinamit kami sa DNR.
Ang DNR, so kayo submit sa DNR?
Oo.
And ang basis ho nun, so for example, when you say the 130 and the 300 hectare, bakit doon yung housing? Is that area better for development and yung iba kailangan i-conserve, or did we just cut it out? Anong naging logic? Ang pinaghuhugutan ko, sir, kasi parang sa akin yung may housing tapos conservation. Kasi usually tumutulay yun. But as I said, this was 28 years ago. So it could have been a different time and a different logic during...
Yeah, I understand perfectly.
So anyway, I won't interrupt you na, but that's yung trend of thought ko. Baka masagot in your statement. Kung hindi, I'll ask that question ulit mamaya.
Yes. Before I resume to my opening statement, Mr. Chair, according to the recitals of the SJVA, the mandate of Blue Star was to ensure the optimum use of the land, the minimal disruption to the environment, and the maximum preservation of the natural features of the area. Because the Lot 10 does not only include buildable areas, it also includes maybe 40% of it is limestone formations. Naging part ng plano for Lot 10 is to conserve. So habang naghihintay po yung Blue Star na maklear yung area ng DNR from illegal occupants and claimants, inalagaan ito ng Blue Star, consistent with the SJVA.
So I'm not saying, ma'am, na in 1996, 97, that might not have been a pioneering or a new way to look at things, di ba? What I'm saying, from my point of view, kung ngayon yon, there's no difference whether it's SM or Villar Group or Ayala Group that will come in, kasi right now, everyone's conscious of the environment.
Yeah.
So from my point of view now, if I just look at it now at ngayon ginagawa to, parang commercial lang yung contract, hindi conservation. Diba? But as I said nga, no, that might have been different in 1997 and 2002. Diba? That's why I'm trying to understand what did the government get by giving you the 2 lands and 3. Kasi akala ko yung 5,000 donation nyo. Diba? But anyways, tapusin nyo muna, then we can ask question. But I wanted you to have that in the back of your mind.
Sir, I understand your predicament. Because we had the same predicament. When we participated in the bidding, we never knew that the land actually is part of a protected area. DNR never told us that. It was only later, about 20 years later, that we learned all of the lands around us, including the 130 hectares, are in fact inalienable, supposed to be forest lands, not subject to occupation, development, and exploitation. Huli na ho anong malaman namin. At isa pang na-discover namin later on, meron palang 3 malalaking mineral production sharing agreements. Ayun ang malaking iskandalo talaga dyan. Bakit merong mineral production sharing agreements totaling 1,300 hectares sa loob ng protected area na sinabi ng batas, hindi dapat i-settle, hindi dapat i-develop, hindi dapat imina.
And that had been cancelled, no? Yeah. So maybe, Asek, what we can do, ipatong natin yung mga proclamations at saka yung agreements na yon, cancellation, over the timeline. Para later on when apples to apples tayo. So, Miss Billy, sorry to keep interrupting. Sige, we'll let you finish your opening statement.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. We're going back po dun sa grounds ng cancellation ng agreement. Nabanggit din po na hindi na ayon sa procurement law ang pagkakaroon ng SJVA, ngunit ito po ay consistent with the prevailing procurement law at that time based on conditions of the land. It's contiguous, it's similar to the first agreement, so we maintain that this has complied with the relevant procurement laws. There was also mention of accomplishment report by the COA. Again, the COA is an agency that checks the actions of government. While there is no finality to the COA's observations, an accomplishment report is definitely within the purview of the DNR and not necessarily of Blue Star. Next, I would like to take vigorous exception and kinukuha ko na po ang pagkakataong ito sa mga insinuasyon na ang Dumalyang family has benefited unduly from all of these contracts, when in fact, it is our family sacrifice to do this for the country. Ako po, pwede na akong mag-aral abroad, mag-aral ng law. Gustong-gusto kong gawin yun. Pero nandito ako dahil may pagkakataon kaming gumawa ng maganda, ng magaling para sa Pilipinas. So I take very vigorous exception to accusations that are made without proof. Now, the Secretary has mentioned that we are not a special case, but in fact, we are here today in the Senate talking about it because it is a special case. We have made singular achievements not only for the Philippines but worldwide. We have evolved into this model for conservation throughout the years despite the challenges and hardships we have faced. So again, we would like to thank the Blue Ribbon Committee for calling this hearing, giving us a chance to speak and say our side, and we would like to present a video, if you will allow, Mr. Chair, to help everyone on board from this on this issue, from the beginning to where we are today.
Yep, please proceed.
Boses na at edukasyong pangkalikasan. Isa ito sa pinakamatagumpay ng pampubliko-pribadong pakikipagtulungan sa kalikasan. Hindi aksidente katad ng Masungi. Ito ay nagmula sa isang proyektong pabahay para sa mga kawani ng gobyerno. Noong 1996, tumugon ang Blue Star sa panawagan ng Department of Environment and Natural Resources or DENR para sa serbisyo. Nanalo ang Blue Star sa pampublikong bidding. Ang kasunduan, lilinisin ng DENR ang lupa mula sa mga illegal claimants at occupants. Mag-i-invest at magde-develop ang Blue Star. Ngunit hindi tinupad ang pangako. Sa kabila ng maraming kautusan mula sa mga kalihim ng DENR sa iba't ibang administrasyon, hindi ipinatupad ang mga eviction orders. Sa halip, dumami pa ang mga peking claim. Naiwan ang Blue Star na mag-isa. Umaharap sa pang-aabusong armado, kasong legal, at paninira ng reputasyon. Ngunit sa kabila ng lahat, hindi sila umurong. Nananatili sila roon. Pinoprotektahan ang lupa at ipinaglalaban ito sa mga korte. Matapos ang Phase 1 ng proyekto, binisita ni Pangulong Arroyo ang lugar at pinuri ang kalidad ng trabaho. Noong 2002, pinalawak ang proyekto sa pamamagitan ng isang supplemental joint venture agreement. Idinagdag ang Lot 10, karagdagang 300 hektarya. Ang lupang ito ay naglalaman hindi lamang ng lupang maaaring pagtayuan, kundi pati na rin ng marupok na limestone formations na matagal nang pinagsamantalahan. Mandato ng Blue Star, pinakamainam na paggamit ng lupa, minimal na pagkasira, at maximum na pangangalaga. Ang obligasyon ng DENR, tanggalin muli ang illegal occupants at claimants sa lugar bago magsimula ang trabaho ng Blue Star. Ngunit naging talamak pa rin ang mga claims sa lupa at kaunti lamang ang naging suporta ng DENR. Habang hinihintay na tuparin ng DENR ang obligasyong linisin ang lupa mula sa mga iligalista, sinimulan ng Blue Star ang pagprotekta at pagpapanumbalik sa mga hindi maaaring pagtayo ang karst. Noong 2015, Sa buong kaalaman at pagsuporta ng parehong DENR at ng lokal na pamahalaan, binuksan ito sa publiko para sa low-impact, low-volume na pagbisita. Noong 2017, pinalakas ng DENR ang gawain ito sa pamamagitan ng isang Memorandum of Agreement sa Masungi Georeserve Foundation, isang tunay na modelo ng maaaring makamit ng pampubliko-pribadong kooperasyon. Ngunit kahit lumago ang kagubatan, hindi nawala ang mga banta. Nagkaroon ng armadong forest invasion, lalo na nung kasagsagan ng pandemya. Noong 2014 at muli noong 2017, isang pribadong pamilyang Tanchoco na umaangkin na mahigit 100 ektarya ng Lot 10 ang nakakuha ng utos ng korte para paalisin ang Blue Star. Sa kasalukuyan, patuloy na nagbabayad ang Blue Star ng 100,000 pesos buwan-buwan upang maantala ang mga utos na ito. Noong Pebrero 2023, nadiskubre ng Blue Star na inilipat ng DENR ang titulo ng Lot 10 sa Bureau of Corrections at sa sariling regional office ng DENR gamit ang isang 2006 Presidential Proclamation. Ang basihan ng proklamasyong iyon ay maling nagsabing hindi natuloy ang proyekto. Sa kabila ng malinaw na wika na ang proklamasyon ay subject to private rights, tulad ng kasunduan ng Blue Star. Noong March 7, 2025, unilateral na kinansela ng DENR ang Supplemental Joint Venture Agreement. Ang dahilan? Inakusahan ang Blue Star ng hindi pagsunod sa obligasyon nito. Ngunit sa parehong liham, inamin ng DENR na nananatiling hindi nila napaalis ang illegal occupants at claimants. Isang gawain na sila ang dapat na nakatapos bago pa man magsimula ang konstruksyon. Isang detalyadong tugon na nagpapabulaan ng mga paratang ng DENR ang isinumite ng abogado ng Blue Star noong March 20. Ito ay higit pa sa isang legal na akta. Isa itong babala kung paano nasisira ang mga pampubliko-pribadong pakikipagtulungan kapag hindi natutupad ang mga responsibilidad at kung paano ang progreso sa konserbasyon na lubhang kailangan sa panahon ng pagbaha, tagtuyot at pagkawala ng biodiversity ay maaaring mabaliwala dahil sa maling prioridad at burokrasya. Magalang naming hinihiling sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. Imbestigahan ng lubusan ang usaping ito. Bisitahin ang Masungi. Saksihang personal kung ano ang naproprotektahan at kung ano ngayon ang nasa panganib. Ang kinabukasan ng kagubatang ito at ang prinsipyo ng makatarungang pakikipagtulungan ay nasa inyong mga kamay.
Question, ma'am. So nasabi niyo doon na may pending court cases yung ibang lupa dyan. Tama po ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And I assume if hindi magkaroon ng agreement with the DNR, you will go to court. Tama po ba?
That is probably the last judgment.
Yeah. I mean, it's an... in other words, ipaglalaban nyo yung karapatan nyo. Yeah. So, I'll give both sides if they want to say anything or answer, but while we're doing that, total mag-Holy Week, time for all of us to reflect. I was thinking if the DNR can appoint 2 or 3 people, kasama na technical people, yung mga plot natin, yung mga, katulad sa mga proclamation, it's all, what do you call that? Coordinates di ba? So hindi man sa mapa. At the same time, there are a lot of history that sino na ba longest serving sa atin dito sa DNR? Si Attorney Adobo ba? So, were you here, sir, nung siguro 2002 na? Ito or... Oh, but familiar ka sa case, sir? Oh, yeah. Yeah. But that's what I meant, di ba? Sila kasi they're totally familiar because sila yung nakakuha ng kontrata to call it that. Tayo sa gobyerno, napapalitan tayo. But yun, if you can also point 1 or 2 people, one person siguro technical on the conservation side, the other one, whether you're lawyer or whoever, we can have a technical working group for the next 2 weeks. I will not stop you from doing anything. I mean, whatever the Secretary feels is the obligation of the DNR. Whatever you feel is your legal remedies. But I mean, if we're all seeking the truth and if we all believe gaano ka-importante itong lugar na to, for many reasons, di ba? Yung flora and fauna doon, yung protection against disasters, yung watershed, etc. If we all believe that and we all say that that's what yung intention natin, then just coming out with the facts muna and what are the issues, di ba? Mas magiging clear ito, no? So what I meant is that you can use the committee as a clearinghouse man lang of issues, di ba? Then after Holy Week, if we feel the need to have the hearing, then magharapan tayo ulit. Kung hindi, I can be personally present sa technical working group. I feel I don't feel alone naman, pero as the Secretary knows and as the Dumalyang family knows, maraming resident environmentalists ang Senate kaya lang it's election period and we're in the middle. But I just thought it was too important. Both sides are airing their concerns in social media and in the traditional media and social media. So I just felt na at the very least, kumbaga sa USEC kuna, kumbaga sa law school, facts at saka issues, kahit wala pang ruling, di ba? Yung lumabas lang yung facts and then ganyan. Maybe I can give each side 1 or 2 more turns, then we can, I'll be conscious of your time, everyone's busy. Yung iba wala nang trabaho Monday like Senate, but yung iba may trabaho pa ng Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, no? Yeah. Sige, I'd like to respond. Kung wala naman, okay lang. But if there are any clarificatory questions through me are also welcome on both sides. Opportunity nyo na rin to dahil sabi nyo nga, hindi naman kayo nagkakaharap. So, sana sa kaharap nyo.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just a rebuttal of the allegations earlier mentioned, especially on the due process side. There were several investigations and I was part of the investigating team at nakakausap ko po sila. Tinatanong po sila, nagkakaroon po ng discussion. So, yung cancellation...
And for the record, you're Assistant Secretary.
Secretary,
yeah.
yes.
Because narinig ko naman sinabi naman nila, walang high ranking. So, natural naman sa Pilipino yun Kasi,
yes,
like sa Congress, pag hindi yung congressman nakausap mo, kahit yung Chief of Staff, para bang hindi mo nakausap Diba? Dito kahit papaano because they know we're only 24. Pag nakausap yung Chief Legal namin, Chief Ledge, Chief of Staff, parang they feel na But for the record pala, tama ho ba? Nagkakausap nyo rin si Attorney, sorry, my eyes isn't Eneran.
Norlito Eneran.
Asek Eneran.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, we have met a few times. We requested for those meetings. Hinabol po namin sila para makakuha ng meetings na yun.
Yeah.
Because we were getting rumors na ganun na.
I'm not saying naman you're not meeting. I'm just saying Assistant Secretary.
Yes,
so
but this was before the administration of the current administration.
Okay. Your seso nga pala. So you've been there.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, the point that I'm raising at is that in the conduct of investigations, nandun po sila, involved po sila dun sa discussion. And before we issue and we reported our findings, lahat po na-consider po. That's why on the allegation of the lack of due process in the issuance of this letter of cancellation is afforded po sila ng due process. And in fact, kahit man sa jurisprudence, Mr. Chair, sinasabi doon na kahit kontrata ito, pwede ang secretary mag-unilaterally cancel if the contract is void ab initio. In this case, Mr. Chair, it's the COA itself na nagsabi na walang presidential proclamation. And we can revisit our jurisprudence and laws na sinasabi.
And for clarity, no? So wala tayong question dun sa, can you go back to the map? So wala tayong question dun sa 1997 kasi delivered yon.
May mga,
So when you say void, are you talking about the
the 2002. 2002 supplemental agreement po.
Which is the
The
300
red one,
hectares.
the red one, yes.
What
yes,
about the 2017? Are we also canceling that? Is DNR also canceling that, or wala pa tayo doon?
Yeah, it's part of our investigation, but it's still for
Ongoing.
evaluation.
Evaluation.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So, but sa 1997 then, delivered yon.
Still under evaluation, Mr.
Evaluation then. So right now, what we're
It's
talking
the
about is the 300 hectare 2002 agreement.
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Chair. And secondly, Mr. Chair, on the control over the area, the fact is, sila po yung nandun sa area. In fact, hindi po makapasok yung aming mga field officers pag nagkakandak ng monitoring. So, as regards the control, wala pong control ang DNR, at yung mga claimants po doon sa area, if we can conduct an ocular inspection, ay sila po yung may complete control over the area. And that's the reason why bago ka makapunta doon, may corresponding fees at hindi ka basta-basta makakapag-set ng appointment hanggat walang approval po yung management ng Masungi.
Wala ba dun sa inyong agreement, yung monitoring ng DNR? Or?
Nandun po, kaya isa po yan sa mga nakita
Issues
nating
niya.
violation dun sa ating letter of cancellation.
Because, let me be clear, I mean, when someone is administering an area, natural naman na yung security, sinong papasok, di ba? But iba yon when you're denying a legitimate authority to inspect or to monitor, di ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
But of course, you just walk in. But sa video nila, nang-imbita nga sila ng bisitahin. Sige, sir.
Yes, sir. I would like to set the record straight because Attorney Aaron is not saying the correct things. First, while there were occasions when we were able to talk with them, actually it was us who initiated the meetings. Second, whatever investigation they did, we never got a copy until now. We haven't received the copy of the special committee that he's referring to, neither of the COA report that they're talking about now. We were never furnished. With regards to access, it was DNR who abandoned the project. There is supposed to be an oversight committee and a secretariat who should be talking to the developer. Dahil partnership ho ito eh. Kaya lang wala ho sila. Hindi nga kinoconvene yung oversight committee.
Just on that point, sir. So, ma'am, of course, you cannot answer for before your term, but anyone here. So, meron nga bang parang committee to coordinate official at may point person yon? Or hindi na convene yun?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Pursuant to the agreements, may committee.
And who heads that?
Different administrations may different designations.
I think we should get that person kasi
We
siya
will provide,
makakasagot
Mr.
di ba?
Chair. Yes, Mr. Chair.
Di ba? So kung may joint venture tayo, hindi ako nag-appoint sino sa office ko. Of course, if anyone walks in from my office, hindi rin kayo, but submit na lang throughout the administration sino yung naging head nun. And
Yes,
then,
Mr. Chair.
So,
To submit.
sinong kausap nyo all these years? So?
Well, wala na ho. In fact, there was a gag order in the DNR upon the assumption of Office of Secretary Loizaga. Pag kinakausap namin sila, they avoid us. I requested Secretary Loizaga many times to convene the Oversight Committee to meet with us. She avoided adamantly.
I'm not defending the secretary, but just as a senator kasi, minsan hindi talagang ako ang humaharap. No? But is there nga an oversight committee, ma'am, and someone... The oversight committee is provided in the...
Under the contract, sir.
Under the contract. So, in this administration, sino yung head nun? Wala. Sige, sir. Sige, sir. Let's just clarify that and then let's end by appointing people from both sides for the technical working group. Of course, it will be transparent. I'll meet all of you. Ang point ko lang, if I was the judge in this case, I wouldn't know where to begin. So I'll try to help with some clarity in all of these issues. No, sir. Go ahead, sir.
It's a very short comment,
Yes, sir.
Chair, on that oversight committee. The only instance that was constituted was 1998, around 2000. It was the president of NRDC, David, who was placed there. But
So,
this was
so sir,
short-lived.
is it an oversight committee that can be convened,
Yes, yes.
or is it
That-
like a
that's-
management committee? So i-clarify natin kasi nga if it's like a management committee, then dapat parating meron. If it's an oversight committee, just like us in Congress, sometimes we convene it, sometimes we don't, no?
After that, wala na po, Your Honor.
So it's not that the secretary did not convene it. It's that
And-
throughout the administrations, it hasn't been a platform that the DNR used to deal with them.
And I guess the reason, despite the request to convene the Oversight Committee after 2017, was the MOA that covers the huge, that 2017 MOA, with Secretary Gina, which covers areas that included the two lots under previous contracts. So that was, I guess, the reason.
Let me rephrase. Ang question ko, did we in government ghost them for the last whatever 2 years, 10 years, 5 years, or did they know who to talk to or hindi? Oh, sige ma'am.
Honorable Chair, if you'll allow me to respond to the comment of Mr. Dumaliang about my not responding to the requests for an audience. I do not respond when a legal context exists. That legal context was established by a demand letter, which actually reached me when I first reached my office, of about 800 billion or so. At which point, I do understand what is required by law, and therefore no conversations are to be had by me under that legal context having been established. Secondly, the use of politically influential persons to reach me to advance the advocacy. I am a person who stands on certain principles. When political influence is used to reach me, I immediately question, what is the motivation behind this? And therefore, given those two circumstances, I do not respond to requests within the context of my own service, having come from both the NGO and academic sector. I too realize the value of political spectacle. I understand the psychological basis for social media campaigns, and I will not be subservient to this type of pressure. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, Madam Secretary, I appreciate and I honor you for that. I mean, parati natin sinasabi integrity in government, but you know, I could have been one of those people if I knew them for long, and I could have had good intentions. On the other hand, I could have also been someone na kumikita from anything and then asking you for that. So, you know, kanya-kanya talaga yung ano yung wala naman tayong handbook sa gobyerno on how to deal with all of this. Having said that, what I want to know from their side, who were they communicating with officially, given that they had a contract with the DNR? So, I mean, regardless if they asked for the meeting or ASEC. So, ASEC, even during this administration, were you communicating with them or last administration pa yun?
The only communication with them was during the conduct of investigation. It was in the previous administration. After that, as far as I'm concerned, there were no communications.
Sige, ganito na lang. So, you can put in writing the allegations and we will make it part of our findings. I mean, if, di ba na, in future agreements ng ganito, is it more of a management than an oversight committee? Diba? So, let's go to the substantial issues. And if that's a substantial issue for you guys, meaning that, sorry to be informal, sa Blue Star na, yun nga, paano ma-address kung hindi nyo namang officially, let me put it this way kasi, sir. Until the point na sinabi kasi ni ASEC na void yung contract, I would have butt in and said, but ASEC, part of due process is to give them a list and then sasagutin nila. But of course, kung sinasabi mong void, edi walang sagot. Sa korte na talaga kayo pupunta. But bibigyan pa rin ng notice na and legal ground why you think it's void ab initio, no? Void from the start. Kasi if it was not void from the start, then something happened during that period that made it void, di ba? So you're raising your hand, Miss Billy.
Yes, I think this is a substantive issue. Sir, nabanggit po ni Secretary Yulo yung humihingi kami ng 800 million or even in some of their statements 1 billion. Wala pong katotohanan ang sinasabi nila. Nandito po ang dokumento na pinadala ng Blue Star since 2021 and 2025. Ang nakasulat po dahil baka mali po ang pagkakabasa nila.
But 2021 was the last administration pa.
Yes, this is the last administration.
Who was the secretary at that time for?
Honorable Secretary, was it Secretary Simatu?
Simatu pa.
General Simatu,
Yes, okay.
yes sir. So ang nakasulat po is this is to advise you of the following expenses incurred by Blue Star in connection with the unrealized delivery by DNR of Lot 10 pursuant to Clause 3.2 of the JVA. We look forward to the immediate and satisfactory clearing of Lot 10 to stop this unnecessary loss of public and private funds. So, hindi po ito bayaran nyo kami. Ang clear demand po dito ay gawin nyo ang obligasyon nyo.
So where did the amounts 800 million, 1 billion come from?
This is based on the expenses and the unrealized potential of, for example, equipment. So from construction basis.
But did the Blue Star was demanding that. So
We are not demanding
you
it.
were
We are
demanding
summarizing the kung magkano
kung magkano yung loss nyo.
Yes.
Pero hindi nyo sinisingil.
Hindi po sinisingil.
Tagalogin ko na ha. So, ang demand letter nyo, and not demand in the legal term, ang demand nyo is ma-clear na
Yes.
para magawa nyo na.
Yes.
Then yung listahan is just to show them.
Listahan
But
to
you
show
weren't
them.
demanding that they pay that.
No, not demanding.
Actually, sorry, I
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Ito, sumulat to ang abogado namin sa DNR noong 2018 begging for the agency to undertake its obligation to clear Lot 10 of the illegal occupants because we were suffering a lot. Ang tagal na, 2018, 2002, 16 years na nakatiwang mga lato ng gamit namin, pati equipment namin. At binabaril kami doon sa site.
Sige po. Anyway, go ahead.
So,
Yeah.
pwede yung tapusin.
Sige po. Go ahead po, sir. Then I'll
para
recognize.
dun sa letter namin na yon, sinasabi na namin sa secretary, ito ang cost everyday niyan. At nag-offer kami na mag-file ng case against the illegal occupants. No? Kaya lang wala akong ginagawa pa rin ng DNR. So afterwards, na-compel kami na i-detalye yung cost. And every month, nagpapadala kami ng statement of account. Ito na ang suma. Ngayong buwan, ito ang nagastos namin. So please, gawin nyo na yung trabaho nyo kasi lumalaki ang cost. At itong pera na to, actually, hindi lang sa amin ang cost, kundi eventually sa gobyerno din. So please, gawin nyo na yung trabaho nyo. Yun ang objective ng statement of account. Hindi nga demand letter nakasulat nun.
Yes, Madam Secretary.
Honorable Chair, thank you very much. And I'll turn over to ASEC Enran in a moment. You will note that the number 3, a term damages, is used. And therefore, I also understand that damages constitute a legal obligation. And so my interpretation is clearly from the legal context. And I'll turn over to ASEC Enran here at the moment.
Yes, Mr. Chair, and it's clear in this letter, although there is no word demanding us to pay, but it is clear that from the second paragraph, it mentions that the costs associated with the land are chargeable to DNR and applied against the DNR share of the project proceeds.
Or in other words, laying the basis.
Yes.
So whether or not they do demand it later on,
It's
may paglalatag dito.
already a demand.
Having said that, did we answer their letter?
We referred it to the regional office for the
And this is March
response.
2025, so
Yes,
okay pa kayo. But did DNR answer them in 2021 and 2018? Can you check, di ba?
Yes, Mr.
Kasi,
Chair.
di ba, meron tayong sa 6713 na, I think, is it a month to answer. So if they weren't answered in 2021, 2018, go ahead, sir.
I'm glad you asked that question, sir, because not one of those many statement of account were answered. What happened was the statement of account was passed from one office to another without any action whatsoever. It also passed the hands of ASEC and Iran many times. What did he do? He merely passed it on to the regional director who sat on the documents. Sana ang objective ng letter ay umaksyon na kayo. Yun naman ang sana namin eh.
Sige, sir.
Pinag-uusapan niyo yung technicality ng letter na yun. Samantalang ang dapat mong gawin ay nagsasuffer yung bansa dahil dito sa kapabayaan na to. Umaksyon naman na kayo.
Ma'am, at least on that point lang. I'll give you an opportunity to answer. On that point lang, kasi di ba bata tayo, yun ang sinasabi, may ghost sa forest. Pero ito iba ghosting about the forest. Can we just check in the past nga, before your time? Sir, I won't depend anyone. Kaya lang kasi yung, pag sinabi kasi for appropriate action, sometimes talaga yung ASEC sends it to the regional direct, sometimes to the secretary. So, but what I'll promise you is we'll cull through the facts and then get to those issues. But you wanna respond just so that hindi hanging yung...
Very quick, Mr. Chair. In fact, during the time of Secretary Simatu, in response to the
By the way,
statement of account.
was this in any budget hearing, whether sa House or sa Senate? Wala. So first time to dinidiscuss?
So this was the second, the
No, I
House
meant
and then the
this-
Senate also.
Etong issues na to, para lang hanapin ko yung sa House, it was brought
House,
up.
yes,
Oo.
yes.
And na-resolve naman, ma'am, or it was left hanging then? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Waiting for the committee report.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Mr. Chair, in fact, during the previous administration, in answer to this statement of accounts, the Secretary Simato then issued a special order creating a special committee to renegotiate because there was already an order that we revised these agreements to conform with the law.
Yeah.
And we were saying that let us be compliant with the provisions of the National Integrated Protected Area System, or the NIPAS, because it says there that any contract pertaining to a protected area should be through a special agreement on protected areas. And there are corresponding fees for that. So 5% of the market value of the adjacent lot, yun po yung amount na babayaran nila, plus 1% dun sa improvement.
So let's do this.
So-
Let's form our technical working group. But what I will commit to both sides, I'll also sit down with you on those issues. Diba? So let the technical working group look at the contracts, the basis, the demand letters, etc., the area, whether sasama kami sa visit or hindi. Then I'll sit down with you on the who's talking to what, talking to who, no? But let's end with the status, no? So the status now is there's a letter informing them that canceled yung contract for the 300 hectares.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Then the first one, the 130 and the 2,700 is under review.
Correct, Mr. Chair.
At the very least, ma'am, can we, for the ones under review, kung sinong head, and then assure them that there'll be transparent talks para lang we don't go through this again later on, di ba? Who will be heading the, sabi mo under review yung 3,000 hectares at saka yung 130?
So the head of our legal department is Under Secretary Adobo, but the lead person on this will be Assistant Secretary and
Okay. So, I'll leave it at that muna, and tignan natin. Ang question lang kasi, ASEC, if may konting animosity na sa inyo on the 300 hectare, how do we just make sure na sa 130 at 2007, maganda communication? And this is a basic tatay, dalawang anak, paano pwedeng mag-usap. But we'll leave it there. As I said, Holy Week naman, time for all of us to reflect. I suggest, with your permission, anything you submit to the committee, I will furnish the other side in the spirit of understanding. Baka naman may mabasa, makita tayo doon that will open our minds. If not dito sa 300 hectares, doon sa iba. Yes, ma'am.
If I may just say a little bit, Your Honor, because I do not doubt the passion of Secretary Yulo, for example. Have known very well, deep interest in the conservation of the environment, and so many of the officials here have devoted their lives. I would not like to think that we're so far from the ultimate goal, which is really the territorial and biological integrity, not only of Lot 10, but beyond. And we were actually heartened by the fact that the good senator said that if there's a way forward, if there's a feasible solution, and I think everyone is agree on the table, we're on the same page, that we're now looking at conservation and what is possible. I think there's a way of interpreting the law. I think the good Assistant Secretary will agree that SAPA is not the only way of moving forward. It will effectively discourage those who have no profit in mind. The Masungi Foundation, just to be clear, and we have made a submission recently to show that not a single centavo has actually gone into the pockets of anyone. Everything has been devoted to conservation. And having that in mind, I think it would not be good to say that for the privilege and for the honor of reforesting and protecting our environment, you have to pay. That's not the concept behind the SAPA. It talks of exploration, development, which is not this. This is not what this is, Your Honor. So we really do look forward, and we really believe that there is a way forward, having a common agenda in mind. We can have a productive talks. I mean, it's the legacy of this generation passed on to future generations, Your Honor. This is I think what we should concentrate on.
Well, first, ma'am, thank you for that appeal. That's
Yes,
a very
thank
good
you.
way to close
Thank you very much.
the hearing before we suspend today. Number two, I just want to share. I'm listening to this man of God, Dr. Miles Monroe, no? And sabi nga niya, leaders don't see problems, they see opportunities. And as you've claimed, no, that your family is a leader in conservation, and wala namang question, si Secretary is a leader also in protecting the environment. I mean, if it was anyone else, maybe I do that na baka may gusto nila dyan, etc. But I don't think we can accuse the Secretary of, wanting the land for anyone or for a interest group. Ayaw nga niya makipag-meeting eh. I mean, I've only seen her, I think, 4 or 5 times at the CA, the budget hearings here, di ba? So, having said that, there's an opportunity here, definitely. And no pun intended, but everyone loves adobo. So, maybe, sir, if there's a little bit animosity, ma'am, with your permission, siya naman po ang... one of the longest na rin ako sa Senate eh. So, I know the feeling na may historical perspective ka na. Sabi niyo naman, ma'am, yung legal naman yung head, di ba? Kasi, ma'am, ang problema lang dun sa 300 hectares, parang ang tingin na nila void. But that doesn't mean they cannot change their But I'm saying, let's look also at dun sa 130 at 2,700. Baka sakaling with the supervision of USEC Adobo, magkaroon ng konting paglilinaw. Sa akin lang naman, ma'am, yun lang yung historical din. Kasi nga, I'll end with this, ha. Alam nyo, when Lani became mayor, nakita niya yung sa 7-8 kilometers ng Laguna Lake, ma'am. May parang 3 hectares doon. Ganun na rin. Nagkakanya-kanya na rin. May nagpasa na nga ng ordinance. May mga retired galing din sa Bureau of Lands na nakatingin na sila. 2009 to. And then when the DPWH was putting a little bit of land recovery for the road, parang hindi lumalaki yung lupa. Yung pala yung naka-occupy doon, inuurong din niya yung kanyang fence. Habang nag-recover, inuurong din niya. So Lani went there with talked to the LLDA. Kung hindi ako nagkakamali, si Congressman Neric Acosta yung nandun. Sinabi niya, Neric, there's only two things here. Mapupuno to ng informal settlers o kami ng mayaman to. So sabi niya, what will I do? What will we do? Sabi niya, kunin na ng city to. I-eco-tourism, protektahan lang natin. So now it's a thriving park which still being developed. No? So ang point ko lang, if you don't know the historical perspective, ang daling sabihin, uy, ang gandang lupa niyan, sayang naman. So I don't know the historical perspective, but I do understand, Sir Ben, when you say na powerful people, etc. And I do, but I've been watching the secretary. I think she means well. I mean, powerful din yung sa reclamation eh. So kaya nga hanggang reklamo na lang kami. Wala na yung reclamation, tuloy pa rin eh. Di ba? So it's not an easy, it's not a black and white legal issue, ma'am. Di ba? It's a complicated thing. I'll do my part for this. No? So yun lang ang request ko, ma'am. We'll suspend the hearing. Let's all do our reflection Holy Week, but we'll have a technical working group. Baka, may pasok pa ba kayo ng Monday? Oo. Alam ko officially tayo wala. No? Pero i-require ko na lang some. Just mag one meeting lang tayo sa Monday para lang we can documentation and everything, diba? Tapos give us a few days after. Yeah. Then we just the week after Holy Week, let's put the timelines and patong natin lahat ng proclamation. One quick question, ma'am. If this is cancelled, is housing still on the table or are we looking at keeping that as puro ng conservation yung area? Or we haven't gotten there?
So within the spirit of the protected area, there is usually a plan. There is a protected area management plan for the conservation of these areas. Having said that, Your Honor, I've also had discussions with SOJ because this property was in fact ordered to be titled to the Bucor. And we're under consultations now with their own plans as well.
And knowing you, ma'am, pinapa-environmental impact study nyo na whether or not we should totally not build in the area or...
Yes, sir. In fact, we've had to do that also because of the considerable sources of flooding that have actually occurred in this general area. So with the work of DPWH and ourselves and other private stakeholders as well, including academe and some civil society groups, as well as the LGUs, we've actually begun this work.
Ma'am, maybe I can ask your permission. Why don't I sit down kahit for an hour next week with Yusek Adobo, kung sino gusto niya isama, tapos 2 or 3 from the Blue Star. Let's just sort out where we are, where ganyan. Walang aregluhan dito. Just anong submission, anong issue. Mini na ganito, then we'll have the Holy Week, then isubmit nyo na lang lahat. No? Both of you can bring the legal. No? Because kung ganitong setting gagawin natin, as I said, we're not pala talking about just one cancellation. We're talking about the 28 years of history and presidential proclamations and I saw sa letter nyo nakalagay questionable survey plans. So issue din yung actual location. No? Yes, Miss Ann.
Honorable Senator, I actually just really wanted to add that I'm grateful that we have this forum finally to come face to face with Secretary Yulo. I'm sorry, ma'am, that you misinterpreted our attempts to reach you. It does not come with anything else but an interest to be able to engage you in keeping this place alive. Let me assure you that. And I hope this continues on. What I have noticed, in addition to the lack of dialogue that has caused this issue to worsen, is really the lack of knowledge also of what actually is happening on the field. So if I may recommend, sir, that the next meetings be conducted on site so that both the Secretary perhaps, together with us and together with the Senate, could see what's happening on the field.
I'll allow that, but after the next meeting. Kasi I just want to, as I said, let's come out with yung lahat ng facts, and then together with Yusek Adobo and si ASEC, come out with the issues so that pati pag nag-inspect, it's not only sightseeing but point by point kung anong issues dun sa lugar. But we appreciate the invitation and we appreciate nga the openness to dialogue there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ma'am, yes po.
So, certainly we'd be ready to meet, as you have suggested. I would just like to say that our efforts have really been multi-stakeholder. We have a project called Transform, which involves local governments plus other stakeholders in this area as well. And the groups that are involved include NGOs, include our partners in terms of reforestation and biodiversity conservation. This include the Peace and Equity Foundation, the Philippine Business for Social Progress, the University of Rizal, the local governments of Tanay and Baras. And the Lopez Group is also part of this particular effort, specifically the First Philippine Holdings, EDC, and their capacity to do both biodiversity and greenhouse gas inventories. So it's a comprehensive environmental impact assessment that covers not only this area, but the 26,000 plus hectares of this particular protected area.
Thank you for that reminder, ma'am. So what we'll do is that we'll invite them in the next hearing. We'll probably invite the LGU, and if you can name 2 or 3 of the NGOs to the technical working group, then maybe one representative when I meet Yusek Adobo and the Blue Star Group, just for transparency, para alam nilang we're laying down the facts and our legal position. No? The meeting is not meant na mag-aregluhan. No? The meeting is meant to clarify the issues. If it leads to agreements or disagreements, then so be it. But at least malatag lang yung, kasi parang nagkabuhol-buhol na yung issues eh. Doon lang sa consultation, who did what, who meets who, medyo may malalim na eh. No? Yeah.
Yes, Honorable Chair, we will inform the Project Transform partners.
And ma'am, thank you for your presence of the whole team. In other hearings, I have to threaten them that General Torre will fetch them. No, but in your case, the whole DNR family took time. Thank you very much for that. Same po. Thank you very much sa buong Dumalyang family. Thank you, Director General Rudy. Yeah, so we'll do the groundwork and help us with the paperwork now. Yeah, thank you. Have a good weekend, everyone. So the hearing is hereby suspended.